What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down some big headlines coming out from different analysts that have very, very mixed views of Tesla. Let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends in just 5 days. Anyways, for Tesla, we have a nice double top like structure as we're building some weakness right here. And Tesla got this nice rejection. I mentioned in the morning that Tesla might come down to fill this gap. And then if we ended up losing 219, we'd be looking for 215 to be tested. That's almost exactly where Tesla ended up going to. Our next target below 215 would be all the way down to this imbalance, very close to the 212s. So overall, Tesla has a double top. It's looking more bearish and is showing some weak after we got some big news. Basically, Tesla's getting a lot of downgrades. We actually saw a lot of analysts that are continuing to downgrade Tesla. First and foremost, Phillip Securities analyst Jonathan Wu has downgraded Tesla to a sell from a previous reduced rating on Friday. They basically had a 145 price target. Now they have 135 as their price target for Tesla. Also saying this amidst the fact that margins are facing more difficulties, and also because of the fact that there's more EU tariffs going on Chinese exports. There's been a lot of talk about this. Other analysts are also decreasing their potential targets on Tesla. So we had KGI Securities downgrade Tesla from a neutral to they downgraded Tesla to a neutral rating from an outperform rating with a 236 price target. That's very important. New Street also downgraded Tesla, giving it basically a neutral rating as well with a 225 price targets. We're seeing a lot of these analysts who are having more negative price targets for Tesla, but some of them are mentioning that with the way things are moving, the reason why they're downgrading their price target is because they used to be a lot more bullish on Tesla. Now they're less bullish. That's the reason why, even though they may have like 230, 225 price targets, they used to say it would go up to 270 before. And that's a little bit more negative, at least for the share price, as per why the share price is down right now. There's also this news right over here. I don't want to be too biased when I say what I say. There are other analysts that are still saying that Tesla's a good buy. For example, Argus came out and they're saying that despite the weakness we're seeing in Tesla stock, they're calling this a very, very good buying opportunity. They're actually very excited because of this. So they're saying that this is an opportunity to buy Tesla stock. And they're saying that the robotaxi event is going to be very bullish as well. So there are a few analysts that are still bullish on Tesla, but other ones are quite bearish. So you want to be very, very mindful of the different views. That's part of why Tesla's dipping, not to mention technicals and all these other factors. So what do I see for the share price? Like I said before, we have a double top like structure. We have resistance to watch for, very tough resistance around this previous support, very close to 219. 219 would be previous resistance. And then we also have support at 215. If we lose this, I'll be looking for 212. Looking at the double top leg structure, this favors Tesla's going to chop around a bit and maybe dip a little bit lower. The market's very choppy, so that's why Tesla's also kind of following the trend, being very choppy as well. But like I said earlier, there is a risk of downside looking at this trend. So I want to give you guys a warning about that for Tesla, not looking the best right now. On SPY, we basically gapped up during the pre-markets exactly as we predicted would happen yesterday, and then we just chopped around. And instead of actually continuing to push or even dump back down, we're very, very sideways. We're just range bound. SPY is struggling to hold above 544, but it's also we're seeing a lot of buyers holding it above 542. And all day it's just been back and forth price action. Keep in mind that we have a lot of options expiring. We have over 1 million options on both sides. So it's not really surprising to me to see the market makers kind of manipulating things like this. Not really a surprise whatsoever. So we may just continue to chop around, but we'll see which way we break. Just as a reminder, if SPY ends up failing to hold 542, if we close below this, we could come down to fill this gap all the way down to the 539s. But if we break through 545 and we hold above that in a very, very bullish manner, this could be a nice double bottom like structure. We could start to look for a push all the way up to 548. And then if that breaks, we could turn bullish. So it really depends on what kind of structure we get. I'm going to be very patient with this one, give this some time just to see how things end up developing. So we'll see how things go. For Nvidia, exactly as I predicted, I said Nvidia might push, but if we get a rejection off 115, we'd be dipping all the way down to about the 112 gap. That's exactly what happened, and we're still range bound on Nvidia. We could be looking for a retest of the 112 area, but look at resistance around 114. If that breaks, I'll be looking for 116. There could be a little bit more downside coming than some sideways price action, but as of right now, there's just like a range on Nvidia. There's not really a whole lot else going on, and that's all I'm really seeing, at least for the time being. For Bitcoin, Bitcoin is trying to uptrend right now, doing a good job. One thing that worth noting is the fact that this head and shoulders like structure did not play out, at least so far, and we are showing potential to try to fight for 68,000. If that breaks, we'll push even higher towards 68,500. So I am seeing some more upside potential in Bitcoin. It's holding up very well, but we'll have to see how it ends up reacting to resistance. Could push a little bit more from here, but watch resistance. Going back to a few more, we have ES. ES is just trading sideways right now, not really doing a whole lot. It's very boring, just like that of SPY. Not much is happening. If we end up losing our 50 EMA, that's 54.75. There will be a risk of some downside, so be very careful when looking at this. For SPX, we also have a little bit of weakness in this structure, but there's no sign of it rejecting. It's still kind of choppy. Just note we still have this gap down here. We haven't fully filled our gap, so be careful with SPX. We'll see how this ends up responding. For the QQQ, there is a risk of downside. We haven't fully filled this gap yet. It might dip a little bit closer to about the 460 area. But like I said before, it's not like it's dumping. It's just going to dip a little bit, and we might just see a lot of chop. I just anticipate that for now. NQ has the same exact setup. It's actually leading the QQQ. This could dip a little bit more towards the 19,000 area, but it might just continue to shuffle. For Aapl pushed a little bit during the pre-markets, only to come back down exactly as we predicted. Once again, we called this move as well. It has a very similar setup as that of Tesla, nice double top-like structure. If we continue to fall, I'll be looking at support around, well, we're fighting 218 as resistance. I'll be watching 216 as key support. If that fails, 214 is coming. It's looking a little bit weaker to me, but like I said before, it's very choppy. For a few more, the IWM is looking a little bit more bearish. We still could come down to fill this gap. If we lose 222, I'll be looking for basically 221.5, then 219. As of right now, it could dip a little bit more than just chop around. It's still looking like it's a little bearish on the trend. But like I said before, the 50 EMA, the 222 is acting as support, so I might just chop around there. For Coinbase, we're struggling to hold above 242. If we do hold above this, we could try to rebound. If we fail to do so, we could come down to fill this gap all the way down to 236. So I do see a risk of this coming back down. So be very, very careful with coin. There is a risk of some downside. Amazon is just very choppy. We did end up dipping down to fill the gap as we predicted to 180. Then we got bought back up to 182. So overall, it's very, very choppy. For Meta rebound is actually holding up to not come back down to fill its gap. It's just shuffling. So make sure you watch 465 as resistance and our key supports at 460. It's very choppy for now, but this could be forming an inverse head and shoulders. If we break past 468, we could start pushing higher. But right now it's choppy, so we'll have to wait until next week to see the big move. For Microsoft, we held 418. So that's a good sign. We're looking at 424 as resistance. If we could break that, I think we could be getting very close to about 427 and eventually 430. So watch those levels very, very carefully. We have a nice double bottom like structure. There's some potential upsets. We'll see how things go. Google, it's holding up not as well as Microsoft. We have to try to get back above our 20 EMA 169 to turn back up. If that breaks, look for 171. If we fail to do so, I'll be looking at support at 166, and this is favoring a move back down to 166. It's looking kind of bearish to me. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Just know that right now, Tesla is dipping a bit. It's very choppy. It may remain choppy for some time, but there is a risk of a little bit more downside, in my personal opinion. With that being said, have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long term is still very bright despite these downgrades that are coming out. And I just want to be unbiased when saying so. I'm still very bullish for the long term. The short term is looking kind of shaky, but things are going to be just fine for Tesla. Thanks again, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you guys in a few hours, and peace out.